Welcome to the Class is Permanent podcast. Today is Friday, April 3rd, and we have an awesome episode here ahead of us. Going to go very quickly into some news, talk, of course, about the World Cup qualifier preview. Sorry to pooch there. And then we have a really awesome interview coming up here with another pro. We're back-to-back, this time with Gennaro Nigro, currently playing for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Spent some time over in Italy, spent some time throughout the USL now. Super, super fun interview there. We'll finish up with a quick preview of the games this weekend. A lot to get into. Away we go.
Class is permanent! Hey, 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 Form is temporary!
Alrighty, before we get into anything too fun, as per usual, I'm here with a very special man to me, someone close to my heart. Pucc E, how are we?
Doing great, eh? Possible good news this morning, depending on how it goes. Obviously, we're recording the night before, but
Okay.
I'll say this just to get ahead of it. I'm out of the brace. Putting positive vibes out there. So if you're listening to this right now, I'm out of the brace and I'm currently on like a 12-mile run because I haven't been able to run in about 4 months. So that's what I'm currently doing.
There we go.
And I'm probably listening to myself say this as I'm driving in a car somewhere, saying, "You idiot! Why would you jinx yourself like that?" But
That's fair too.
we're trying. We're trying. How are you, E?
Pooch, I'm great. I'm absolutely great. Just always excited to talk to you. And ready to get into it. So let's start off. Real quick news here. De Zerbi officially hired by Spurs. I've already shared my thoughts on it. The interesting part about it, and I'll leave it at this, and I say that every episode, but I will. No relegation clause. He's supposedly here for the long run. So fair. I mean, fair enough. Like if I signed that contract, I'd also not, because if I get relegated, then I would just be like, well, that's on me. I deserve to be here. But fair enough. So he will be here. Still hesitant, but there's one mission. It's to stay up, and that's it. So we will see how he does. I guess starting next week, because we have FA Cup this weekend. Let's get into the big news this week, Pooch. Do you want me to start? Do you want me to start with the heartbreaker? Or do you want me to talk about some of the other games first, and we'll finish off with
finish with the heartbreaker.
Okay, so let's start real quick. Czechia beat Denmark in penalty, so Czechia has qualified for the World Cup. Kosovo fall to Turkey, so Turkey is also qualified for the World Cup. Sweden beats Poland. Gyökeres, as Pooch is doing the Gyökeres celebration. By the way, he just got that trademarked, I think, officially. Smart, but like, can he do that? It's Bane's thing.
No, he never said it was Bane's thing.
I guess that's true. Fair enough. So Sweden has qualified. I'm excited to see Sweden actually in the World Cup.
A little BS the way that they got in, but I do think that they deserve to be there with the talent that they have. Yeah. But the only I don't think they won a single game in qualification for the World Cup. But they got in for like winning the second division Nations League 2 years ago.
They got in
BS.
They got into the playoff. Because they did not win, like Pooch said, they didn't win a single game in their actual qualifiers. They got into the playoff due to their performance in the Nations League, like Pooch said, like 2024 or something, which, I don't know.
A little BS, but getting to see Graham Potter in the U.S. will be a dream of mine.
He was thriving. He's thriving over in Sweden, and they have a good young crop. So, I mean, you have Gyökeres, you have Isak, so those two up front will be sick. You have Lucas Bergvall. Kulusevski, people are like, oh, Kulusevski at the World Cup. Kulusevski might be dead. Spurs fans don't know where he is. He has not played a minute. The
last time we saw him was on the back of a milk carton.
Good one, Pooch. When it comes to Kulusevski, the crazy part is the last manager he played under was Postecoglou. There's been 3 managers at the club since then, or something along those lines. Insane. But that being said, Sweden will get in. Unfortunately, that means that Poland will miss out, which means Lewandowski will miss this, which should have been his final World Cup. Not saying Poland would have went too deep, but, obviously a legend of the game, and that's probably it for him. Maybe he plays one more Euros, but I doubt it. He's weighing up his options at Barca, whether he's going to stay one more year, whether he's going to make the move to MLS or Saudi, and, I just can't. I'm sure if he's still playing, he'll go with Poland to the Euros, but I can't see him even be still playing at that point. I'm sure at that point he's had enough. This was a fun one. This was one of our games of the week. Congo beats Jamaica. So my heart's broken. One of my favorite type of people, the Jamaicans, will not be making it, but I am happy to see the Congolese will be making it. And the guy who does what is he? Stands the whole time. The
Yeah.
only problem is
Lumumba.
Lumumba. The only problem is he may be facing some visa issues, so he may not be able to get in. But he did stand the entire game outside of wherever they were watching it because the game was played in. Well, they
Oh,
played
he
in
didn't
Mexico.
go to Mexico?
He couldn't get in. They didn't have. There was like visa
Can I
issues.
say something? It's kind
You're
of a
allowed to.
fake fan move.
Hmm.
It's the biggest game in your country's history, most likely, and you don't travel to Mexico to do
Okay.
it. And he
wasn't allowed to. So you wanted
he wasn't allowed to go to
He
Mexico.
couldn't get a visa to get into the country. They need travel visas to get to travel.
You might have a tougher time getting into the U.S. then.
He won't. He will not. I
Yeah.
don't think anyone will
Yeah.
be able to get in from Congo. There's like Congo. I'm assuming Iraq and Iran maybe have a difficulty there. No reason why, just naturally. But that being said, Iraq also beat Bolivia 2-1. So congrats to the Iraqi. It's got to be weird, man. If you're from Iraq and you're playing in the U.S., like just got to be kind of a weird vibe. No,
Yeah. We'll
leave it there.
We're getting into geopolitics, and let's try and keep it light. Let's
keep it light. We're keeping it light and fun. We have Gennaro gave us like a proper hour, so we want to make sure that we don't take too much time here. Awesome interview with him, so we're going to keep it light here. But this is maybe when we're going to get heavy. Italy lose to Bosnia and Herzegovina in penalties. Italy have now missed 3 straight World Cups. I could give my thoughts, but who cares? I'm going to pass over to Pucc. I'm going to actually mute my mic starting now.
I don't know what Bastoni was doing. I don't know what Gattuso is doing in terms of who he's calling up. He's calling up Spinazzola, who has no knees/ankles. He's starting Politano, who has 1 goal, I think, in his last 30-something appearances for Napoli. And the guy that starts ahead of him for Napoli, I want to say, was on the roster and just didn't play. They don't trust the youth enough. I think it's a shame that they had a talented crop of players like they do, and they weren't able to beat Bosnia. Now, Bosnia did the correct thing in terms of, hey, they ended up playing at a second division Bosnian stadium, 15,000 seater stadium, in the middle of an apartment complex.
That was sick.
Fantastic move.
Yeah.
I would have also done that if I was the Bosnians. So honestly, for them, shout out Ed and Jecko, for getting to another World Cup. Congratulations goes to the Bosnians. They played a tremendous game. The Italians, they have so many issues. Gennaro talks about his thoughts on it coming up. But he made a great point in there, which I'm gonna bring up here now. Just that he made it Germany. This happened to him, I want to say, in either the 2000 Euros or the 2002 World Cup, where they missed out entirely, and they basically dismantled their entire system off of missing 1 tournament and rebuilt it, and now we're for the next decade and a half, we're perennial contenders. We had that opportunity when Roberto Baggio had a 900-page plan on how to help the Italian national team after they, I believe, got grouped in 2010. He made this plan, and they fired him from president because he made this plan, because they were like, we just got grouped.
Quick pause there. He wasn't fired. He actually stepped away because they accepted the plan and they never integrated the plan. So he kind of had a hard quote about it. It was essentially like, if you don't let me use my plan, then I'm useless. And so he said, F this. And, I mean, the only thing I'll say about the plan that I've kind of shared to everyone about it, and again, I'm letting Pucc have his space here with his rant. He just heard me and Gennaro yap the entire time, is the plan is almost commonly accepted across the world now, is how to develop talent, at least in developing nations. So in the U.S., his plan was focused very much on individual players becoming competent on the ball, creativity, essentially every kid needs to know how to dribble. Every kid needs to be competent passing. Every kid needs to like be able to win one-on-ones. And it's not the idea that you need your center backs to go on, 70-yard runs with the ball. The idea is instead of doing kind of like the Pep Guardiolaification where you're a position you play as a peg in a system, you are now, hey, every player can do this. So when we get to a higher level, those that are extremely talented, we can then figure out your best position, your specialty. It's something that Gennaro talks about in our interview in a little bit, is you later on find that. Whereas, it seems that Italy has not done that, and you're struggling to find creative wingers. They play only a 3-5-2, it feels like. There's like no flexibility. I don't know. I'm going to step out of this again.
But even with that, them playing a 3-5-2, when Gattuso first came in, he did try and play a 4 in the back system. The thing is, the talent pool that they have right now, because basically every single Serie A team plays 3 in the back,
Yep.
they don't have the players to
Right.
play a 4 in the back. So it's like it hurt Gattuso because it's like he's sitting there, he's like, I want to play with the 4 in the back, but the players I have aren't. It's not like a club where you could be like, all right, well, I'll just get rid of these players and bring in new ones. It's
you
like
can only do with what you got,
tough.
and that's understood.
Yeah, and it just feels like the nation doesn't trust the youth enough.
That
Like
too.
you look at a team like England, how many of their guys are going to be under 25 and have minimum 20, 30 caps under their belt? Most of the team, right? Like most of that starting 11 has 30 caps under their belt. And like you look at a guy like Palmer, Saka, I'm trying to think, like you'll probably see Adam Wharton, Kobe Mainu, who have played in big tournaments, had big minutes, Declan Rice, like these guys are all like mid 20s, early 20s, and
They're all early 20s.
Yeah, and they've played big matches like Euro finals, World Cup semi or quarterfinals, like played big matches at that young age. You look at Italy and it's like, who do they have that like has played big matches? And you're like, well, technically a guy like Crescente like has played big, like he was on that
but
2020
Crisante's
Euros
32.
team.
Right.
But
He's 32 years old. Like,
and we're still playing him. Like it's stuff like that. There's a great video online of it might have been in qualification for the 2014 World Cup, which we missed out in, or 2018 World Cup, which we missed out entirely on. The head coach, I forget who it was at the time, walks over on the bench to Daniele De Rossi, and we're down 1-0. And he goes to him and he goes, "Get ready, you're going in." And De Rossi has a full on like argument with the head coach saying, "Why do you want me in there? We have what's his name? The short guy that played at Napoli. I'm blanking on his name.
It was Insigne.
Right now.
It was Insigne who was coming off like 20 goals in Serie A or something crazy.
Yeah. We have him on the bench. We're down 1-0. Put him in the game. Like, why are you trying to bring me on? And that is the culmination of the way that the federation itself thinks these days is like, bring in, like it even happened in the game midweek, like we brought in Crescente and he should not have even been coming into the game. Like, who did he come in for? Let me look.
Yeah,
really
that's what
quick.
confused me. I was like, why is this dude coming in? And I mean, I didn't know your full squad. I don't know the dynamics. I don't know the tactics.
He came in for Locatelli, and Locatelli is having a phenomenal year. He's one of the better players on this Italian national team.
Locatelli's
and
insane.
We're taking him out. Like, what are we doing here? So I actually came up with my own, I'm calling it Project Italy 2030, and this is a way for Italy to win the World Cup
geopolitical
at 2030.
Ahead. Okay,
so
let's hear it.
The first thing, fire the entire board, which they already did,
Step
and
one,
hire Baggio as the president and have him implement his 900-page plan.
Okay.
Step 2, appoint an old school, no nonsense Italian coach. I'm thinking short term. Bring in a Pioli, bring in a Ranieri, bring in a Gasparini, somebody no nonsense. Antonio Conte. Bring in an older Italian coach, not for the long term, but for the short next 2 years to kind of steady the ship and get us ready for the Euros, the next Euros. Steady that ship, have him coach till that Euros. Step 3, this is where we maybe get a little bit outer spacey. implement a rule in Italy that minimum 5 players are allowed that are non-Italian nationalities per team. Doesn't matter if they're under 21 or not. So, like, for example, Como flying up the table. But we went through it a couple of weeks ago, I think, when we were hanging out, Ethan,
Yeah,
where there's like 2 Italians on the roster.
they're both like
And
backup
it's like
goalies.
and it's like, how can you develop your nation when
Yep.
one of your best teams isn't helping do that? So, like, I understand it from a club's perspective, like, hey, we want to get the best out of here, but this has to be an all hands on deck type of thing where it's like we have to get as many Italians playing in Serie A as possible. The next
Yeah.
one, a minimum of 10 under 21 players on the first team for every single team. So, no
Okay.
more of these like we want to start developing at the highest levels. Like a lot of the best Italian players don't even play in Italy anymore. Tonali,
Yep.
Calafiori,
Yep.
Moises Keane has bounced around. I know he's
Is he one of the
back.
best?
Moises Keane played phenomenal this window.
I'm just joking though, but like, just crazy. He also missed by the
Donnarumma,
Yeah.
Donnarumma.
Yep.
Bastoni is about to get transferred out to Barcelona because Inter don't have enough money.
Yo, shout out Bastoni lowering his fee for us. That's massive.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Diego Coppola, who just moved to Paris FC.
Who?
Like they're who's the guy that plays for Inter or Atletico Madrid?
Raspadori.
No, not Gatti, the other Italian center back.
For Atletico Madrid?
Yeah. They have an Italian center back.
Do they?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Ruggeri, 23 years old.
Oh, yes.
23 years old.
That's
so
on
it's
me.
like
Good job,
all
Pooch.
of these like what's his name? The guy that tore his ACL for Liverpool, Leone, one of the up
Yeah.
and coming guys,
I forgot about
Italian
him.
center backs. He's not playing there. Already mentioned Tonali, like Chiesa if you want to add him in there.
He's the one that screwed everything. Chiesa obviously falling off because he could be a talisman. He was that good. And
Yeah,
him
but
falling
like
off screwed everything.
but they don't have anybody else like even with him being a talisman.
No, my
Like
point is they don't have anyone else, and that was the
yeah,
issue.
yeah.
If he's fit for you, it's a little bit different, but
So I think if you sit there and you say like, hey, basically the entire team is Italians. Out of that entire team, 10 of them are under 21 players that we develop at our own clubs and we hold on to. I think that will help. The next one, the most controversial one, I think, self-imposing a ban on European competitions for a year. Minimum.
what would that help?
Focus on yourselves, focus on the league. Don't worry about going up against Spain. Don't worry about going up against the German teams, the English teams. Like focus on just Serie A and cup competitions. Focus on developing your players. Don't worry about prestige, any of that. Focus on developing everything.
Yeah.
The next one, the national team every window for the next 2 years have to have a minimum of 10 under 22s called up.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
For example, they had, I know you asked about this player in particular, Coyote. He was playing for the under 21s this window.
Yeah.
Him and then this other amazing fullback coming through AC Milan right now, who Arsenal have been linked with.
Who?
And if we're being honest, his name's Bardagazzi.
Sounds familiar. Go on. Sorry, go on.
Davide Bardagazzi. But yeah, so like both of them are both fullbacks or wingbacks or whatever you want to say. But both of them are like, first of all, Coyote, like we mentioned, playing at Brentford, but both of them are having phenomenal seasons for
Yep.
their club, but don't get the call up to the Italian national team, both playing for the under 21s. Make that make sense. What Italy needs to do is basically the next World Cup, they need to have these following players as their star players: Coyote, Baragassi, Tonali, Fagioli, Samuel Ricci, Esposito, Donnarumma, Calafiori, and Locatelli. That should be who they're focusing around as a core group of players to make the next World Cup and then onward. Like they're focusing like it just seemed like if you look at their roster, like Politano, we mentioned Raspadori, who like I like, but like since he went back to Atalanta this year, he made this roster. He's played 7 games, has 1 goal, 1 assist this season in all competitions for Madrid and Atalanta. He
Mhm.
has 3 goals and 3 assists. That's
Right.
not good enough to be getting called up. Like you're having Retegui, Matteo Retegui is playing in Saudi right now.
Yeah.
Like it's like
That's not good.
what are we doing here? Another one, Davide Fratesi. Guess how many
Yep.
minutes he's played for Inter this year?
Not many.
500 minutes. He
Yeah.
started 3 games, but yet he's getting called into the game against in like a knockout game, and you're like expecting him to like provide
Right.
something. And it's like the guy has 0 minutes in the legs. Like, I don't know. I just that's kind of where I'm at is like basically everybody over the age of 28 on this team, send him out the door. Like you have Federico DeMarco just spamming X on the button, like crossing in balls. And it's like, I get it, but like when that's your most creative player in a
Yeah.
knockout game, it's a
It's very
wingback, you
Spurs.
have issues.
It's like Pedro Porro at Spurs under Tudor. It's the same thing. It's like at some
Yeah.
point you're just relying and hoping one of these balls falls perfectly to somebody, and it's not. But can I give my outsider take on Italy? And I think I'm very
Yeah.
fair with this. So first thing, I think partially you just named names. There's clearly a lack of talent, and I think it
Yeah.
goes back to the way you develop talent, and I think it goes back to this is something I was talking to some of the other coaches at work about. It is, and this is relevant to the U.S. with identity. Italy's identity is defensive. So you guys have good defenders. You have multiple good center backs. The problem is though, is like who's your Roberto Baggio? Who is your Del
No,
Piero?
exactly.
Who's your Totti? And you don't have that. And the problem is like I think we've focused too much, at least when I talk about we're talking about Italy in this case. We focus too much on like I guess part of it is like not having identity, but also having too much of an identity where it's like, oh no, we're good at defense, so everyone's going to be a good defender. It's like, yeah, but great, but like everyone's got to be good on the ball, man. Everyone, like, I need like these young kids to play creative, so when we get to the top level, like they can beat their man 1-on-1. And it feels like Italy right now, you have some decent central midfielders, you have good goalkeepers, you have good center backs. You need an attacker, or you have to change the system in a way where you could fit your best players on the field and get results, right? Like like Arsenal might be the best example of this. Arsenal's best players are their back line, and they're, you'd probably say Rice, and then I'm blanking. Maybe you would say Odegaard, right? I don't know. Whoever else in the midfield, right? Like Zubamendi. So what did Arsenal do? Arsenal will win every game 1-0. The problem with Italy is they don't feel solid enough defensively to be able to do that. Against, and let's remember here, Bosnia, and I don't want to discredit Bosnia. Against Bosnia, Donnarumma had the most saves in a game of his Italian career, potentially his entire career. The only other time that happened was against Spain in the last Euros. So you can't act like your identity is defensive when it's not, right? Like you can't just say our identity is defensive and then you don't play that way. Like there needs to be a little bit like, all right, if we're going to play ultra defensive, let's play that way. But I need 1 to 2 attackers. Maybe this is where a guy like Moise Kean can get the job done, right? Because he's got pace up front. Or maybe you only need like a POS, but like he's a promising player. But we can't, like, we have to stick with the identity, and it has to be drilled in, and it has to be proper. That's kind of like the take I had is like, all right, I think Italy, properly defensive, but then I watch them and they're really not. Like, I don't feel secure about your defense. And I like Bastoni. He's going to become a Barca legend. But I just don't. It's not your Maldini, your Nesta, and those are all-timers, right? That's like saying about Spain, oh, well, your midfield's not Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets anymore. Of course not. But we could still control a game with our midfield with the players we have because there's an identity there, right? And we've had to change our identity to become more direct because 2018 World Cup, we got grouped because, or did we lose? Maybe we lost to Russian PKs in that one. But the point is we lost our directness. We could possess a game, but we had no directness. We didn't adapt. And that's where Italy needs to start to develop some of these young talents. Part of it might be that right now it's just not a good pool, and maybe the U21s, but you have to tap into the youth. You have to in this game. That's the biggest thing.
I'll say this. The thought of this pool being bad is BS for the simple fact the Italian under-19s, I believe a few years back, won the like Euros. Right. And like they consistently in like the youth like tournaments, international tournaments will finish quarterfinals, semifinals, finals.
Yep.
So like it's not the talent pool's bad, because the talent is there.
Sure.
It just doesn't get developed to a high enough level, whether that be, in my opinion, my personal opinion, I just don't think it's the clubs giving these guys opportunities at the highest level where
I
they
agree.
can showcase their talent, or if they do for a year or two, immediately they're getting transferred out for big money because the Italian clubs need the money.
Yep.
I want to bring it back to something you said just about the identity and everything. The Italians' last knockout win in the World Cup,
Yeah.
2006 World Cup
The
final.
final. Yeah, not good enough.
The identity that you're discussing with that team, they had Buffon in net, once again all timer, but their defense was Zambrotta, Cannavaro, Maserati, and Grusso. You're sitting there and you're like, that's a good defense, better than
Right.
what they have now. There are two center midfielders, Gattuso and Pirlo. So once again, you're like solid in the back. Like that's a
You're right.
solid defensive team.
Yep.
They're two attackers, Totti and Tony. So it's going back to what you said, where they don't have a Baggio, and like
Right.
Moise Kean could be that guy. But that's always been the identity of Italy, has been for this
Right.
was basically the last time that they were good, was that where we have a solid back line, we have a solid midfield that will like kind of put a halt on things in Gattuso. Pirlo will kind of make some magic happen, and then the two attackers are like talisman. Like they are also granted to have magic within their feet as well. So the Italian team, when you look at their roster right now, like they just don't have that ability, like you said, of they don't have guys in attack that will make special plays, and then their midfield is just so bland,
Yep.
and then their defense is just like they're a solid defensive group, but like I don't know, like I would trust a Donnarumma, I would trust a Bastoni, a Calafiori, a Scalvini, a Mancini in the back, but they're not like all timers. Like
Right.
and
Right.
you don't need all timers. You just need solidity. But when that attack isn't doing anything, the defense is like
Right.
it's tough. I don't know.
You need, when you're in tournament play, which these teams play, right? We're not talking league play, we're talking tournament play, right? You need to win 1-0. You need to win 2-0, right? Like you guys went up early, and then obviously Bastoni gets the red. Say what you will about it. I transparently, it's like a tough one for me because I get it. He has to try and make a last ditch effort. Probably shouldn't, because you get the red if you don't. And it's the same thing as Araujo. He did the exact same thing that Araujo did against PSG a couple years ago. But yeah, I mean, at that point, Bosnia puts all the pressure on you. You're just spamming crosses in. And I'm going to be honest, I loved how the game was reffed, because it was a fucking fist fight in the box.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
And Bosnia had the three dudes, like 6'1", 6'4", 6'5", something like that. Loved it. But yeah, I mean, again, I'm not Italian. I want Italy. My dad asked me, he's like, oh, like, do you want Italy in the World Cup, or are you rooting for the upset? And I'm like, honestly, I do want Italy in the World Cup, because number one, we live in probably the most heavily Italian American place in the United States. So like that'll be just, it'll make the World Cup more fun. And secondly, like, yeah, like I've said it all the time. Like I was talking to me and this coach. We had a lot of free time. The kids are on spring break this week. So we have like 3 kids show up to practice. So we're just running scrimmages. And we're talking. I said, it's the same thing. Like, I feel like when it comes to club soccer, we have become like oversaturated. Where like 2 or 3, you have 4 or 5 super teams. And like back in the day, it was like Juventus was a super team, AC Milan was a super team, Inter had a super team, and then in Spain you had 3 or 4 teams. In England you had 2 or 3. In France you had Lyon, Marseille. Maybe at this point PSG was good. Now it's like, who's the best teams around? It's like Bayern, Barca, Real Madrid, PSG. In Italy, I don't know if there's a team I'd even throw in there. I guess maybe Inter, they're leading the league right now, but they have some parity amongst themselves, but not really on the world stage. And then in England, of course, you have Arsenal, I guess you'd say Manchester City, and Liverpool probably at this point too. But it's one of those things where, like, Italian soccer has fallen off, and part of it is, like you said, in Spain, Barca doesn't really send kids out on loan.
No.
Ricky Puig, who did not cut it, who ended up going to the MLS, played like a full season for Barca, at least getting minutes, right? Like, you see these kids actually play, and if they don't develop, you get rid of them, right? And it is what it is.
It's also not like even for Barca, where it's like Pedri, when he first came up, had a really good year, And
Right.
then you guys were even in a tough financial spot then too. You guys didn't
Right.
immediately go, "Oh, Liverpool, you want Pedri? Yeah, sure. Give us 50
Right.
mil for Pedri after one
Right.
good year. We'll take it." Like that it like happens all the time with the Italian
Yep.
players, but like they know that like they're not going to really get a lot of good opportunities in Serie A because of
Nope.
the way that it is right now. Like, I mean, we look at Inter, like we discuss it at nauseum, good word, that their team is just so old.
Yeah.
Like they need to
Who-
refresh the team.
Pooch. Here's my question for you. Who is the
Yeah,
face of Serie A?
right now. Uh,
That's the problem. That's the problem.
yeah.
That's the problem
I
right there.
mean,
Leao,
I would even
McTominay,
say Leao, probably
Laturo,
McTominay, but like
Laturo
McTominay,
Martinez.
that's who I was thinking, but, like, I would probably honestly say it's McTominay.
Right?
But
Like
once again, like, also all the names that you mentioned are non-Italians,
ex-
where it's like
exactly.
you look at the Spanish, like, league, La Liga, top
Lamine,
3.
Pedri. I could just list from both Barcelona and Real Madrid right off the rip, like you
Yeah,
said. You
yeah,
asked me
and
France,
then
Dembele,
Dembele. And then
Doué.
England, you're like, maybe it's a bit more difficult, but still, like, you look at, like, Arsenal, for example, who are their top 2 or 3 best players, like, that you would consider the stars on the team? 2 of them minimum are English, Saka and
Yep.
Declan Rice.
Yep.
Like, you look at City, it's the same, close to the same thing as well.
You could do that with every team in England. Maybe City and Spurs are a little trickier right now, but at some point, City. I mean, if you want to say John Stones, but like Jack Grealish, right? Like
Yeah.
back when he was kind of cooking.
Phil Foden still is.
Phil Foden at Spurs. At some point, you had Harry Kane, right? At
Yeah.
Chelsea, you have Cole Palmer. At Liverpool, you have. I feel like you have a couple of Liverpool. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm blanking at the moment. Maybe you don't. Well, you know what? You had Trent. That's who I'm missing. You had Trent, who I was kind of thinking was like the first. I mean, of course, you have Salah and some of those other guys, but yeah, like this is more than just a footballing issue. It's also a marketing issue, and that's where the money issues are coming from.
Mhm.
And that was a big issue that why I always call the president of Javier Tebas, like I always used to call him like a terrorist, because what happened is when Messi and Ronaldo left La Liga, so did the money, right? The marketing,
Yeah.
the eyes, the views. So what happens? The money doesn't come back into the league. Then, of course, the pandemic was no one could predict that. But these players leave. You can't bring players back in, which means the money doesn't come back in, which means that everyone else can't eat. And that's what's happening in Serie A. Like you said, like you have to sell your players, or else you can't. Like Barca's going to get Bastoni for probably 70 mil. If Bastoni played for Manchester City, he'd be 120 million.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. Barca might even get him cheaper than 70 mil. That's all the reports I'm reading from Italian reporters. And that's like how desperate these clubs are, where they're like, we don't have power. Like we just need to get a deal out of it.
Which is why I'm saying just reset the league in general
Mhm.
and in my plan. And it's like, keep all the Italian players. Sell, if you want to make money, sell all of the non-Italians, most of them, and then ban yourselves from Europe for a year. Yeah, you're not getting the European money for a year, but you should basically have
Yep.
a decent amount of European money or money left over from selling all of the players. And
Yep.
just for a year, just one season, focus on, hey, let's develop our young players because we know we have the players we need in our
Yep.
system. Because you look at the youth tournaments of the
Yep.
national team and you see how well they do. Have that group of guys actually play in Serie A, and you can develop your nation's stars that way.
Yep.
Like,
It's better that way. It's like I don't know. Like it's weird, but I say it all the time. And this is our last point before we move on to the interview. Like there's something awesome about when each nation had like Germany and Bayern. Like half of the German national team is Bayern. Barca just sent
Mhm.
8 players to the national team camp. Right? Like when you have these again, I just talk about it from a Spurs perspective because back when Spurs made the World Cup semifinal, like 6 or 7 of the players were Tottenham players. And you're
Yeah.
like, my team is English. So when I turn on the game, I'm actually rooting for England at that point because I'm like, oh, I want to see Harry Kane do well.
Yeah.
But when you turn on a game and you're watching Inter Milan and you're like, how many Italians do they got? So they got Bastoni, they got Barella. Oh, okay. The goalkeeper is Swedish,
Yeah,
Swiss, right?
Sommer.
Their star player is Argentinian, right? Another star player is French, right? And Marcus Thuram. Okay, sorry, their fullbacks. Like my point is I like when you have and it doesn't have to be that way, but my point is you could look back to these teams and just be like, oh, that was half the Spanish national team. That was half the Italian national team. Like, and no wonder they got so good. And it's frustrating. I mean, we're pure ball knowers. We are as pure as they get. I have no interest in watching Serie A. I know we talk about Como and I start watching them more. But prior to that, I had no interest because like the league's not, it's not that it's not competitive. The talent isn't the most exciting. I'd rather watch, this sounds crazy. I'd almost rather turn on MLS just because it's local instead of watching freaking like AC Milan versus Inter Milan. And maybe that's a little bit of a hot take, but like at some points I was like, who cares? I'd rather watch like NYCFC versus Red Bulls because it
they all just play three in the back, super defensive.
Right.
Every single team.
Right.
Like that's just the way it is. The only team that doesn't do that is Como, and they're flying up the table.
Right. Like 100%. And of course they have like no Italians. We talked about they have 2 backup goalkeepers. I think that it was like a backup goalkeeper and like a 35-year-old center back. But the last thing too is the best player I think in Serie A this year is Kenan Yildiz. Guy's Turkish. Yeah. Like he makes me watch the league, and I think he's probably going to move this summer. And it's just crazy because it's like I don't want him to move. And you'd be like, oh, what? Like in a wild world, I'd say he's linked with Barca. I almost don't want him to move because I'm like, all right, like Juve just got even shittier, you know. Like I'm not going to watch them at all now. It's like kind of nice to turn on Champions League and you're like, oh, I wanted to watch Juve. They have that kid on them, or oh man, I like watching AC Milan. Rafael Leao's electric, you know. Like whatever. We left it at that. Only last point I'll say about Bosnia, it was kind of cool to see the kid from Appleton, Wisconsin, Esmir Bajratekov. Sorry, I'm sorry to all the Bosnians out there. Please don't hit me. Playing at PSV now, but came up. I think do you know what team he came? Oh, New England. I guess relatives were Bosnian, and because that he scored the game-winning penalty. He actually had a decent game too. Got into it with Gattuso, which shows a little attitude that I kind of love, but a little silver lining there for my Italians. Alrighty, we're gonna jump right into this interview. Gennaro was awesome. I wish we recorded off air too, because for those that don't know, we spent 1 full hour with him on air, and then we spent a full hour with him off air, just chopping it up, talking life. We said goodbye to him about 6 times during it, but then we'd be like, oh, wait, do you know this? Or like, oh, have you been here? Awesome, guys. So you guys are going to love it. Let's get into it. Alrighty, guys. We're extremely excited. Pro number 2, but someone who's very special in my heart. Someone who we've technically been talking on Instagram for years, but this is the first time we've actually heard each other's voices. We have a legend here, another Union County legend. Gennaro Nigro joins the show. Quick clap for Gennaro, everybody.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, Gennaro, very excited to have you on. Quick background for those who haven't followed you. Gennaro hails from Clark, New Jersey. Wikipedia says Livingston. Am I wrong there?
That's where I'm born. Born in Livingston, St. Barnabas Hospital. But I grew up. Too. Look at that, man. Small world. Yeah, bro. I moved to Clark when I was 7.
Okay.
We were living. My family was living in Marlboro before that. Commute was a bit hectic for my dad, so decided to move a little bit closer to his restaurant. Yeah, man. Yeah.
What restaurant does your dad own?
He owns Michelino's in Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my
I know
dad.
exactly. I did not know that. All right. So first off, we have no sponsors on the show, but now we're going to give a free shout out to Michelino's. Head over there, order, you get 10% off, say class is permanent. If you say Gennaro sent you, the whole thing's free. Shout out Michelino's for being the first sponsor.
It's possible, man. It's definitely possible.
We might need to set that up. I love it. I love
listen, if you guys head over there, dinner on me. All right.
Oh, Pucc. Me and Pucc love a little free dinner. All right, we'll head over there.
It's right around the corner from you, man. It's right around the corner from you.
100%. That's awesome. We'll definitely have to stop by. And again, if you go in and use code ClassIsPermanent, 10% off your entire order and a free bottle of wine. The bottle of wine's on Gennaro. Thank you, Gennaro, for the bottle of wine.
Absolutely, anytime.
Good guy there. But Gennaro was looking up again. I followed you similar to Murphy and you last week. Someone I've kind of followed on socials through mutual friends. I know. So if you don't mind, just giving us a little bit of background, right? PDA Academy, Red Bulls Academy, yeah. And then obviously you make an awesome move over to Roma. Pucc, by the way, huge Roma fan. We'll get into that. I'm sure he has tons of questions, but tell us a little bit about your upbringing there, and then we'll move into some of your time in Italy too.
Sure, man. Yeah, started playing at PDA when I was, think 11, 10, 11. Was there for a few years. That's actually where John and I met. I've known John for a long time. Our families know each other
Yep.
really well. A close friend of mine, who's doing really good things in Knoxville now.
Yep.
Shout out to him. Was at PDA for a few years. Afterwards, decided to make a move over to Red Bull. At the time, the pathway was a bit different. I'm sure you guys are aware how things have changed immensely over the past, even within 5 years, but definitely within the last decade. Um,
Yep.
Hmm.
but had the opportunity to play against guys that were a little bit older than I was. It felt like a step in the right direction for my development. Ultimately, uh, I'm told after a few years that I'm not going to be continuing with the club and head back to PDA, and that was probably the best thing that could have happened to me.
Hmm.
Just from a development standpoint, I think I needed some nurturing, a little bit of tough love, and I definitely got that. And I was able to go back and play with friends, see familiar faces. I grew up
Yep.
playing with my cousin Boris, who you probably are aware of
Yeah.
as well, who is happens to be the goalkeeper coach for the New York Cosmos now.
Wow. Good for him.
Yeah, yeah. So he's doing really well. But being able to play with him and spend time with him, I probably spent a large portion of my day for years with him. So, having that was really special. And then afterwards, luckily being able to, sign a professional contract, uh, right after I finished high school and make a jump to a club in a country that, is very very close to home. My grandparents immigrated from Italy
Yep.
about 60 years ago now. My dad's a first generation American. My mom a little bit further down the line, but still with Italian roots. Uh, it was almost like a full circle moment to see,
Yep.
their process of moving to the States and then my decision ultimately to move there. And they were even able to. My grandparents happened to be there the year that I moved over, and they were able to watch me play in a friendly match, which was super special moment and something that I'll remember for the rest of my life.
That's incredible. I could not tell you were Italian with the name Gennaro Nigro.
No
Had no
chance
idea
there,
that.
right? No
No,
chance
I
there,
thought
man.
I thought you were Irish.
I
Um,
am Irish, bro. My mom is Irish.
okay,
My
so
mom
there
is
you
Irish.
go. There you go. So I guess I see. I could tell. I could tell. I could see it. For those of you who have not looked at red hair, very pale, not Italian looking at all.
At all,
Um,
man.
Not at all. Good stuff. Good stuff there. And we appreciate sharing the background there. It's always cool to hear, especially guys that are coming out of Jersey, and kind of seeing where everyone's connected. And even John was talking about when he was playing through some of like the youth like the US youth camps, like
Yeah.
some of the guys he played with and now where they are today. And, just hearing those stories. Were you ever in some of those US youth camps? Did you ever maybe
No,
play in some of the
never.
none of the US? Gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean that the big one here, right, is Roma, right? And I know Pooch has questions for today. So I'm Spaniard. You guys are both Italian. I'm going to step out of it a little bit and let you guys have some fun with the Roma stuff. But yeah, if you don't mind, Pooch, why don't you take it away? Ask away about Roma.
Yeah, Gennaro, first off, Ethan is just disappointed because I banned him from being a Roma fan because he tried to become one earlier this year and we lost
Is that
like
right?
3 in a row. So,
I was picking a
and,
Serie A team, and my good friend Pooch. So me and Pooch are usually on the opposite side of sports. So Pooch is an
Okay.
Arsenal fan. I like Tottenham. I'm really a Barca fan, but in this case, in the Prem, I like Tottenham. Yeah, it's a tough one. What else, Pooch? He's a Patriots fan. I'm a Giants fan.
Happy with the manager appointment, or what were we thinking?
Hesitant.
Okay.
He just plays such like a, when it comes to his tactics, right? Like they just take so much time to implement. And when you
Sure.
have 7 matches and a relegation scrap, it just feels very much like maybe that's not the right type of guy. But he signed a 5-year deal. He apparently has no relegation clause. He's here for the long term. So can't really be upset about that. Obviously, his build-up's incredible. Pep's, spoken highly about him. I just fear at the moment, like we got 7 games. It's like 7 games, do or die. So that's where I'm a little
Sure.
worried, but can't be upset there. I mean, obviously he made some comments about Greenwood. Mason Greenwood was a little hesitant on that. Didn't love that, but again, if he gets us out of a relegation scrap, I think maybe we could look another way. So
Time will tell.
hesitant. Yeah, time will tell. We'll see. But long story short, I was like, Pooch, I'll be a Roma fan. I've always liked Roma, the Dybala announcement, like just the history, Totti, all that. I was like, I'll be Roma. Pooch is like, I don't know. So me and our producer Owen, who again was super anxious to meet you, he couldn't even come on the show. He has this whole thing with celebrities and pros.
Yeah,
We
celebrities.
became Como
Thank you.
fans. Yeah, I mean, you and John, he
Yeah.
actually asked a question, which was like a big deal. We're socializing him. For
He should.
you
He
were a little.
should. I mean, we still have time. He should hop on. I hope he's listening somewhere, or when this comes out, he'll be able to listen. I would love to meet you, man. The man who works behind the scenes. You gotta show your face. Let the people know.
100%. Maybe while you guys, as Pooch asks some Roma questions, I'll call Owen. I see maybe he get just one question in. You know what I mean? He get
Alright.
over his nerves. He get one
Sounds
question.
Good. Sounds good. I don't
But-
bite.
My first big question maybe isn't necessarily just about Roma,
Mhm.
but about the Italian youth system in general. I know that there's been a lot of discussion since Italy got knocked out, sadly, a few
Mhm.
days ago,
Yeah.
just about how the Italians kind of their archaic style of their youth system and everything else like that. So I just wanted to know your thoughts on kind of how it was over there in that system.
I think right now it's a red hot topic, and people are, easily. It's very easy for people to jump to conclusions now and point fingers and say that it's one thing or another. I think it's a culmination of a lot of things. That being said, I don't know if you're aware, but Italy is always competing in youth European championships
Mhm.
and youth World Cups. They're always finishing, whether it be quarterfinal, semifinal, and a few years ago they even won the. I don't excuse my error, but I know for a fact that they won a youth Euro a few seasons ago. I can't remember what
Yeah,
year,
I think it was the under 19s.
whatever it was, man.
Yeah.
There's plenty of talented players in Italy. There's plenty of players who have ability, and I think a lot of people get wrapped up in a lot of things that are happening right in front of them. And not to say that there isn't a fundamental issue here, because it
Mhm.
can happen one time, it can happen two times, but once it happens the third time, it's a
Yeah.
trend. And I think that there's a lot of people asking themselves the same question, especially within the Italian Federation and within top clubs in Italy, because you can even see the amount of money that they're selling players on for. The amount of players that are breaking through into first teams is significantly less compared to other
Mhm.
countries. Um,
Mhm.
that being said, it's hard to put your finger on it. My time there was very much about adapting and understanding what it took to play in a new country, and the type of role that I would need to take within a
Mhm.
team of guys who, speaking frankly, were there. Majority of them have been there since they were 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. Um,
Mhm.
so I was put in a situation where I needed to not only figure out who I was as a player again, but integrate myself within a group of guys that were together for a lifetime. Never mind the culture and the language difference,
Mhm.
but also the football difference. I mean, I think everybody knows how particular Italian football can be,
Mhm.
how Italian football dominated Europe for the greater part of the late 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, with this both Serie A and Italy as a national team. The amount of players that they produced, the late runs in tournaments, obviously winning tournaments, coming very close to potentially even, not to ruffle any feathers knowing that you're Spanish, but uh competing with and saying like, oh, is this the greatest national team to ever play? Because I think
Fair enough.
the group of players that Italy had throughout the early 90s to the time that they won the World Cup, it was a very, very, very talented and very, decorated group of players. Going back to your initial question, what is the problem? You know, um, I don't know if I have the answer for you. What I can say is that um, when there's a will, there's a way. Meaning, if the right people are able to sit down and understand what can help, it's not going to be uh, there's no missing ingredient. There's no, okay, we need to add this spice to make this dish perfect. No, I think it's modifying and adapting to what you have at your disposal at this point. And then educating the people who are responsible for growing the next generation. How can we nurture rather than if you have a square peg, don't try to put sorry, if you have a square hole, don't put a round peg. You know, like
Hmm.
let kids express themselves, let kids do what they want to do. And I think even now in the US, when I was growing up, when we were growing up, um, there was no such thing as tactics. That being said, I know the US is a bit the philosophy behind football is much different. It's much younger. But that being said, I think to a certain extent, like speaking for myself, I think that really helped my development because I was able to express myself in different areas of the field, and I think it's helped me become a better player because I've played in different positions and not necessarily had a system. I think systems are great, but I think the best coaches are able to give players ideas and let them work within that mold. Let it be as flexible as possible. Obviously, you shouldn't be able to do whatever you want at all times. But
Right.
what I'm saying is if somebody tells you it's white and during the game you see that it's black, you as a coach should have the trust and rely on your players to make proper decisions. Then the players also have to know that they have to live with those decisions, whether they be good or bad. And I think in Italy, it's almost the opposite, where the idea of specializing players from a young age and
Right.
you know pushing a certain mold on them and trying to do things like in a first team environment is super positive in a lot of ways, but I think it takes creativity away from a lot of guys and
Hmm.
makes
Yep.
you makes you play a certain way. And a lot of when especially when you're young, you want to play. You want to play, and if
Yeah.
the difference point between you playing or not playing is listening to what a coach is telling you, you're going to do it, whether it's your innate instinct or not. It's a fine line. It's a fine line being tactically disciplined and having creativity to unlock a game. And because how many games do you see now? At least for myself, I watch a lot of football. Like how many games do you see now that are it's like two teams playing the same way. There's no there's
Yeah.
not necessarily this diversification, this off of the cuff, this ability to get on the half turn, get at guys and dribble. And I think that's what a lot of people are yearning for. Um,
Yep.
with with Italy as a country, I think they got away in a way from what they've always been good at, and that's being defensively sound, not conceding goals, and then having magical players who are able to do the business up front. Those magical players don't happen if you don't have the right people in youth sectors who are able to guide them. And I think the way that football is going is, so much is reliant upon the coach and not on the players. When in reality, the players are the ones who go on the field. The best coaches that I've had,
Hmm.
I've always said, guys, my job is to help you. Like I'm not here without you. The players are the most
Yep.
important thing. They're at the forefront of everything that we do. And I don't know this for a fact, but I can definitely see that this culture of the importance of a system and a manager or a coach uh, implementing what it is that they want to do at all times. It almost becomes the success of the manager rather than the success of the players.
Hmm.
And if that's happening at the highest level, people at the lower level, especially in youth football, are going to try to mirror and replicate that. And it turns into this thing where coaches are trying to move forward for their own good, meaning, okay, if we win, I'm going to move forward, rather than saying, if I
Right.
do well by the players, people are going to notice and then they're going to push me on. Um this is just a sensation that like I listen to a lot of people who know the game a lot better than I do, who
Right.
have been around for a long time. And I try to stay updated with what's going on in Italy just because it's a league that I've watched since I was
Yeah.
a child. But these are things that I see. Obviously, there's like I said before, there's no perfect recipe, and understanding what it is that what the Italian Federation needs to do as a whole to sit down with every single club, or at least the top 20 in the country, to have this trickle down effect to say, okay, this is how we're going to treat players
Right.
from the age of 6 to 8. This is how we're going to treat players from the age 8 to 12. This is how we're going to treat, like, those are important conversations that need to be had. I don't know if you guys remember, Germany didn't qualify for
Yep.
a World Cup, and they had a revolution. They
Yep.
tried to they started from scratch. The most important people within German football at the time said, "We have a problem in our infrastructure, and this needs to be changed." And since then, German national team has won a World Cup. German national team has
Yep.
been consecutively in semifinals of Euros and World Cups, which is by no means an easy feat.
Nope.
There are things that need to be discussed, and uh, sometimes that means taking skeletons out of the closet. Um, but I mean, I'm hopeful. I know that I've lived it myself. I've been inside of a Serie A club, and I've seen the talent that comes through the doors every single day. I've seen the amount of players that are hungry and looking for opportunity. Um, and I think at times the way that the model is in Italy in particular, most of the clubs in Serie A are owned by foreigners,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So they might not necessarily know what it takes to operate. Like, for example, let's take Atalanta, for example.
Mhm.
Atalanta is owned by people from Bergamo, which is the city that Atalanta is from.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Atalanta, for the last 10 years, has been the example of what clubs throughout Europe need to be doing, not just in Italy. If you look at their profit margins, the way that they scout, the way that they promote from within, the amount of players that they're selling on, there's a reason why 2 years ago they go and win a Europa League. There's a reason why every single year now they're competing to qualify for the Champions League. And that starts, in my opinion, with people who understand the city, the significance, what it means to the people and the fans, the impact that it has on the community, and putting your trust in a person and giving them time to implement a plan and see it to fruition. Because you take Gasperini, who
Yep.
is the reason, one of the many reasons why that team was so successful. He was able to get lots from little. They were able to use a small budget and transform players. How many players came to Atalanta and had their best seasons of their career, have left and not done the same? I
Yep.
think the proof is in the pudding. And a lot of these foreign owners look at these football clubs as a business, which they are. But you have to have a foundation on a house before you can start adding door panels and windows and a
Right.
roof. And that
I like that
takes
one.
that takes it
But you're
takes
gonna
it
use
takes
that one.
time.
I'm gonna
It
use
takes
that. No,
it
you're
takes
right.
time,
You're
man. It
right.
takes time, and I think a lot of these coaches feel like they don't have time, and that
Yep.
inherently hurts young players. Because if the difference between me winning a game and losing a game is a young player who has potential, because the only way those guys are going to get better is being put. Obviously, training is one thing. Training is one thing. Training with
Mhm.
world class players is going to make you better. But until you're put into a situation where you have to live the game for what it is, where it's 3 points on the line every single weekend, you're not going to progress the way that you need to, because the game isn't just 90 minutes. There's games within games. There's times where you need to keep the ball. There's times where you need to waste time. There's times where you need to play in behind. There's times where you need to play short. There's times where you need to do certain things that the game asks of you, you know? And the only way you do that is through playing. And when coaches feel that they don't have time, even if they think that a player has promise, I don't think that they're going to put their neck on the chopping block for a 17, 18, 19-year-old kid. It's a loaded
Yeah.
question. It's a loaded question. So
No, yeah,
it's hard to
yeah.
answer.
It's a tough one. I just know that you have the insight of being inside of that system. So I definitely
Mhm.
want to hear your thoughts. And I think you gave a great answer in all honesty. Because like I said, like I like watching the Italian national team, but I don't know the ins of it because I'm not living and breathing it every single
Mhm.
day, or I
Sure.
haven't done that.
Sure.
So to hear you say
Yep.
kind of what I've been thinking and then even more insight into that is great to hear. I wanted to maybe ask two more Roma specific questions. One will be short and quick. Did you play with Calafiori at all or no?
I did.
Is he awesome? Is he awesome?
He's a great guy, man. Great guy.
Okay.
Luckily, well, unfortunately, the year that I arrived, he had a pretty severe injury,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
when he came, he did his operation here in the U.S. in Pittsburgh. Um,
Oh,
and while he was here, he picked up on some English. My Italian wasn't by any means great at the time, so he and I would text back and forth every couple of weeks just to I would check up on him, and then when he uh when he came back, he would try to speak English with me, and I showed him some different rap songs and things like that.
what what
Thanks to push
what were you showing him?
J.
What did you
Cole,
put color?
J.
There,
Cole, man,
there you
Okay.
go. Okay,
J.
good
Cole.
stuff. And that was
Yeah,
probably like prime J Cole too, because we're talking about like 2018, 2019. So it
2018,
was
2018. Yeah.
that's
So
hilarious, man.
Forest Hills Drive. That was
Yeah.
I honestly, it was to the point where I didn't even want to hear it anymore. Like there was this guy was playing Planes nonstop, and I was like, you
Oh my
got
god.
enough, man. Like stop, please stop. He's like singing the lyrics to me, and I'm like, dude, just enough.
Changed his
Um,
life.
I mean, he's changed his own life, man. Like, he's
That is true.
Yeah.
what he's done over the past 3 seasons has been exceptional. I mean,
Un-
I don't think anybody. Obviously, reports come out
Right.
how severe his injury was, but it was to the point where they didn't even know if he was going to walk again. Like
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
he tore everything in his knee. Um, to the point where 6 months, 7 months later, he's back jogging. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, for a 16-year-old
Yeah.
kid. I mean, the club itself did a. This is me from the outside looking in. I wasn't in his shoes,
Hmm.
and I wasn't the person responsible for all of the decisions being made. But they understood that he was potentially an important piece to the club's future, and
Yep.
they gave him the time that he needed to not only because emotionally as a 16-year-old, even as a 25, 30-year-old, it's really tough
Yep.
to deal
Mhm.
with injury when you're watching and others are playing and you feel like
Right.
you're being left on the wayside. Um, I think they did a great job with him, and he was able to come back, and even the next season he would play. Unfortunately, he was only able to play a few games without his knee swelling up again. So he would have one game on, almost one game off for
Hmm.
the start of the next year. And then obviously he had his chance with the first team, and since then, couple loans, was able to go to Basel, did really well at Basel, and then once he came back to Italy with Bologna, I think that was the start for
Yeah.
everybody to see what type of player he is, and the qualities that he has, the ability to play in different positions, to interpret a role that is becoming more and more modern of this constant rotation and positionless
Yep.
football. Um,
Mhm.
he's I'm really happy to see him doing well.
And it's all because
Yeah.
you showed him planes. That's
Yeah.
it. Because you showed him planes. He's starting for Arsenal. He's starting for the Italian national team. There you go.
Yeah, my last kind of Roma based question would just be how did you kind of go there? Like what's your story in terms of being a kid, Italian American kid from New
Yeah.
Jersey, and then you're going to the Roma Academy? Is it they were scouting you in the US
Uh,
or
yeah.
something
So
else?
just to preface, the year before, um, I was very close to signing a contract with Empoli, which is a team that
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
bounced back and forth from Serie A to Serie B, in Serie B right now. Um, that happened around April of 2017. I was in the midst of my junior year of high school, finishing up my junior year, and at the same time, going through the college process. talking to different schools and things like that. In the meantime, once the contract was offered for the following season, my family and I were trying to figure out if how it would be possible for me to finish high school over the summer. I think I needed like a few more credits, and I would have had to do
Hmm.
school for 6, 7 hours a day throughout the summer to finish up. Uh, in the meantime, I went up to Cornell University, and I was able to go on a visit there, and I kind of fell in love with the place. And at the time, Empoli seemed very much like not necessarily a shot in the dark, but there were a lot of unknowns.
Hmm.
Didn't have the certainty that I would be able to finish high school at the time, which for my mom, who's an educator, was a huge,
Right.
huge, huge. It was a deal breaker almost. Obviously, if I had pushed and said no, this is what I want to do, when there's a will, there's a way, and we would have figured it out. Um,
Right.
but it just when I was on my visit at Cornell, I was like, this is the place that I want to be, and wound up committing there. And excuse me, a few months later, um, this was a process that had started probably 6 months prior in January, where our academy director at PDA asked me if I would be interested in going to train at 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 w- at Roma's training ground for the summer. Um, and I was like, yeah, that sounds great. Thinking
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's never going to
Yeah.
happen. Because at the time, Roman was owned by a gentleman named James Pallotta. He was a guy from Boston area,
Okay.
Italian American. I think he has a minority stake still in the Celtics. Um, but anyway, they had some partnerships with some clubs throughout the U.S. A lot of the Nike clubs. So PDA was one of
Mhm.
them. Crossfire Premier was another one in Washington, I believe. Patiodorus in California, um, and a few others. So uh, week before I was supposed to go back to school, so end of August, I get like an itinerary saying that this is happening, and I went thinking this is a great opportunity to see,
Yep.
not only a top club, but also to compare myself to, again, compare myself to kids my age around the world, because I did that a few months prior when I was at Empoli, feeling
Mhm.
pretty confident about my level where I was at, and the progressions that I need to make, the improvements that I needed to make on my game. Um, and after being there for a week, I thought, what a incredible experience. I was able to play against the first team. So usually how it works with, I'm sure you know, Ethan, I'm sure you do as well, Pooch, but um, the guys who don't play on the weekend usually have a training session either the day after or 2 days
Mhm.
after, where they'll play a, usually a larger scale game, not exactly 11v11, but maybe 11v11 in reduced spaces. So I was training with the Primavera team, which is the under 19, and we were able to play against the guys who weren't involved in the game at the weekend for the first
Mhm.
match of Serie A. Um, and I had on my side, I had El Shaarawy and
Oh
Florenzi.
my god.
So I um I was able to finish the match, and everyone from the first team staff and sporting director included were watching the match, and I had good feelings, good sensations about how the game went. And I think I didn't speak the language at the time, but you get like these little, I don't know how to explain it. There was something that was like that went well,
Yeah,
something
like
Mhm.
something.
little hints,
Little
like
Yeah,
where you're
cues.
like,
sort
yeah,
of.
like, huh,
But by no
yeah.
means that I think this is going to come to fruition in that type of way. Before I left, there was a person who was helping myself and a teammate who I went over with. His name is Pedro Cavalcanti. He is the assistant coach for Monza right now, but at the time he was working for Roma with the under 14s, I believe, under 15s,
Mhm.
and he's actually from Miami. And he pulled me aside. He was taking myself and my teammate from PDA back to the airport, and he's like, "Listen, I don't know what's gonna happen, but regardless, you should be proud of yourself. Think people were happily surprised with your level and what you were
Nice.
able to bring to the table." And so I went back home thinking like I'm gonna enjoy my senior year of high school, and you know be able to just add to what I was already doing. And
Right.
I was playing with a lot of confidence. I think I was doing playing really well. and throughout the season, there was just like this, you know, this fire to just keep doing, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And then eventually around Christmas time, the technical director from PDA called me into his office and he's like, they put a contract together for next season. And at that point it's like, okay, mad dash of trying to figure out what to do. I didn't
Right.
have a passport at the time, so we were trying to figure out the fastest way to do that. I was trying to understand if this is actually what I wanted. So it was, is it school? Is it no school? And it was a long process. My parents were very open with me and were very patient, and allowing me also to make my own decisions because I think they realized that um, this is all I've ever wanted and all I've ever tried to do. And I think the years leading up to it, they saw firsthand how much time and sacrifice I put
Mhm.
into it.
Yep.
So eventually, I decided to make the decision to sign a contract and head overseas.
Incredible
And the
stuff
rest is
there, and
history.
that must have been nuts around Christmas time. You're just like, yeah, I'm just gonna stay here in the States, maybe go to Cornell. You're probably thinking like, am I gonna join a frat or not? And then all of a sudden it's like, hey mate, you're going to Roma. They liked you. El Shawari put a good word in for you. You did well on that left side. And it's like, oh, okay. How'd you get over there the first time without a passport, by the way? Did they like smuggle you in?
What do you mean the first time?
So when you first went over to Roma, because you said you
No,
didn't
I'm
have a
talking about
passport.
I'm talking about Italian passport.
Oh.
I see what you're saying. Like visas
So
to like work and live there. Understood.
yeah, so if I didn't have an Italian passport, there's no way it would have happened. Um,
Oh, okay.
there there's for every rules are different in every European country. Um,
Sure.
but within Italy, you are allowed 3 internationals, meaning non-EU
Okay.
players in the whole club, not like just in the
Oh
first team,
Oh,
wow.
in the whole club. So those 3 players have to be exceptional, have to be special.
right.
Um, so that wasn't me, and without the passport, it wouldn't have been possible. Luckily, my grandfather, he never renounced his Italian citizenship because back in the
Okay.
70s, you had to choose pretty much. So my
Mhm.
grandmother decided to become an American, and my grandfather maintained his status as an Italian citizen. So the paperwork was quite not simple, but it helped having a friend that worked at the Italian consulate in New York as well.
that
Because
definitely, that definitely.
otherwise, I don't think anything would have gotten done.
Aye. That's incredible. Okay, gotcha. When you said I was like, how did you over the first time without a passport? I was like, that's
Yeah,
incredible.
no,
Roma must work.
I should have prefaced that. I should have prefaced that.
You're all good. So at that time, and for that kind of like Roma, I guess like that trial while you were there, what were
Yeah.
you playing? Left back at that time? I know you bounced around center mid, left back, right back. What were you playing then?
I was playing more as a midfielder with the
Okay.
with the Primavera.
Okay.
But in that game with the first team, I played as a right back.
Okay.
Uh,
That makes sense.
yeah, played as a right back. But again, but like I mentioned before, at the time I didn't really have a position. I was
Mm-hmm.
kind of I was usually playing with older guys, and I was usually
Sure.
just like a band-aid almost. Like wherever we need somebody, that's where
Yep.
I was going to play. And I think it's definitely helped me in different ways. Whereas if I was playing as a fullback my whole youth career, there's skills that I think I have a skill set that is maybe a bit unorthodox compared to other
Mm-hmm.
players in my position. I'm comfortable being in the middle of the field. I think that um, my my play style can adapt to a lot of different positions, and I think that comes down to playing in different positions from a young age. That being said, I
Yep.
think you do need to start to specialize at a certain point, and I think early on that was a big issue that I had, where people within the club didn't even know what position I was. I
Right.
was brought in as a midfielder and spent months trying to understand what my best position was, and I should have said, "This is my position." But
Right.
me being naive said,
Mhm.
"No, I'll be available whenever they need me." And I think that turned into less opportunity because I was put on the bench to again be a band-aid. You know, if
Right.
something
Yeah.
happens, we can always bring him on as a midfielder, as a right back, as a left back, as a center back, whatever we need. Um,
Hmm.
especially moving to a place like Italy where tactically you need to be sound, and I didn't know what tactics were. Um,
Right.
so I was constantly being reminded how I needed to improve tactically. I needed to improve tactically, but that was really difficult when I was changing my position every single day. It wasn't until I left Rome where I was like, okay, this is my position. Like I'm a fullback. I'm a fullback. And
Okay.
even after that, it's changed and been modified because every coach has a different idea. I mean,
Mhm.
when I was at Roma, I had, first team coaches who throughout my time there were three first team coaches. The first one thought I was a fullback, the second one thought I was a number 10, and the third one thought I was a holding midfielder. So even for me, I was
Right.
confused. I was confused. I didn't know what I just wanted an opportunity. I wanted to play, and when people are pulling you in different directions, it's hard to say. It's hard to make a decision, because that wasn't
100%.
really what I was used to.
Yeah, that totally makes sense there. And I mean, like you said, it's kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't, right?
Mm,
Because if you are like the band-aid, great, you're going to get opportunities, but you're also never first choice
mhm.
because you're the flexible guy. So, or
Maybe not Band-Aid, Swiss Army knife. Let's put it that way. Band-Aid has
yeah,
a
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I
Band-Aid
like
has a
that more.
negative
This
connotation, man. Like,
right. You're like the ultimate team player, but it also kind of
sure.
screws you, especially because I mean, right now I'm coaching some of the youth levels for Red Bulls. When I talk youth level, I'm talking about Westfield Intercounty. So very
I
youth
agree.
levels. And as you mentioned it earlier, um, the philosophy is purely like getting everyone competent on the ball. Every player needs to be able to dribble, needs to be able to pass. Group tactics don't matter, right? Like very basic ideas. Like we play a 4-3-3, but nobody's a center mid, nobody's a center back, right? Like you're not a prime goal, like a pure goalkeeper. It's all about getting everyone. So that way, when they do get to maybe like more of a high school level or more of an advanced level, now we can start to specialize, right? All right, you're 6'4", right? Like you should now be a center back or a striker, right? But the problem is, especially in youth soccer, maybe more so when we were growing up, right? I mean, me and Gennaro are obviously the same age. Pooch is a year older than us. Was if you were tall, you were told to be a center back. Well, what happens if you stopped growing, right? And now, like, you can't be a center back in your whole life. You've just only been taught how to defend, right? You never know how someone's going to develop, how they're going to grow. Or maybe there's a kid who's the smallest on the field. He grows late. Now he should be playing center back, but his whole life he's been a winger. And yeah, he's good on the ball, but he doesn't know how to defend,
Sure.
right? So, kind of like you said, there is a time and place to specialize. It's just a matter of, you know, you have to have a certain level of maturity. And obviously, like you said too, right? It's got to be tough tactically when 1 week you're played as a center back, right? And
Mhm.
especially as a young player in a country that you obviously were learning the language, but doesn't fully know the language. Everything is new. And now you're told, are you going to play center back? And the next week you're playing right back against El Shawari. And you're like, what? Like, what am I supposed to do? Right. And it's like, all right, now you're going to go play as the 10. And I can't even imagine, I'm sure it was awesome to be able to get the minutes, but I can't even imagine like as a 17, 18, 19-year-old, like having to process all that on a field while also trying to keep your
Mhm.
performances high. That's got to be, you know what I mean? Though you already have so much
Yeah.
pressure on top.
Mhm. Mhm. No, I mean, yeah, you gotta take everything in stride, man. I mean, hindsight is 2020. At the time, by no means
100%.
was I having these type of obviously it's you want to play and you want to be involved as much as possible. Um,
Yep.
and you want things immediately. You want things immediately. Could be
Yep.
that I wasn't ready to play, you know. Could be that I needed more
Right.
time. It could be that the player in my position was performing better than I was.
Right.
There's lots of factors. Um, but again, I think those experiences are important because
Yeah.
they let you see the game in different ways and uh make you process information in different ways as well because it allows you to understand the people you're playing with too because if you've played
Yep.
in that position you know the way that you want to receive the ball, you know how your body's supposed to be positioned, you know the cues, you know the timing. So if somebody's asking for a ball in a certain way, you're like, okay, I'm going to give them the ball the way that I would like it, the same way as if I was playing in their position.
Yep.
Um, So those little nuances are only there from experiencing it firsthand.
100%. And something I noticed between you and John, that you both of you have moved a lot of clubs at this point, or I
Yeah.
shouldn't say a lot, but have kind of journeyed. But both of you also played different positions throughout your journey. And I think what you both have spoken about, especially now that we're entering, we'll say our prime, 25, 26, right? Where the traditional prime is, there's like a certain level of like footy maturity. Where
Mhm.
I think younger, when you're probably at PDA, when you're playing for your high school, right, at easier levels, you're just kind of going and having fun, but you aren't really thinking too much, right?
Mhm.
And you haven't, and maybe we'll even say a guy like Lamine Yamal, right, whose whole life has probably been a winger, his whole life has never had to worry about changing positions. For someone like yourself, who's kind of journeyed, who's had to go through the ups and downs of it, you have so much more maturity now. Where, and this is something big I want to talk about. We're skipping a couple of clubs here, but talking about your time with Las Vegas, right? You spent the past 2 seasons there and captained them.
Mhm.
Something else I noticed with John now becoming a leader with Knoxville, and I wonder how much of that experience from the past, where not always having
Mhm.
it easy, right, has been able to give you that experience where walking into a new club, you can captain even at a younger age.
Yeah, I mean, luckily I've had good examples. I've been around I've been around I've been around some top players and
Hmm.
uh tried to be as receptive and you know malleable in that sense to learn and almost be a sponge. Um and I think for over the last 2 years in Vegas, I had my two most consistent seasons, playing pretty much every minute. Uh,
Yep.
Obviously, like you said, being having the opportunity to captain the team was a great honor for me, and something that I'm very proud of. But having been in different locker rooms and dressing rooms and being around different types of characters, it definitely paints a different picture. And myself, I've lived in 3 different countries.
Yep.
Think I've seen players at the beginning of their career, at the end of their career, and you can learn something from everybody. My
Yep.
first experience in a quote unquote men's locker room, I sat next to guys that could be my dad, like double my age, have
Yep.
400 professional appearances, and I promise you, you're not you're gonna do things a certain way because otherwise there's gonna be real issues, and there's no HR department, and there's no one you can go crying to because if the coach finds out you've done something wrong, and an older player has reprimanded you for it, he's probably gonna do it twice as hard. Like those are
Oh,
those are things that you know I'm mindful of, and when things go. I think when I was younger, I had a hard time empathizing with others and understanding if they were going through a tough time, and had a difficulty putting myself in their shoes. And from the time I was a kid until I was around 18. Um, but since then, I've I've been able to, leave my ego at the door and kind of take a step back and say, as much as this is a sport where you progress as an individual, I need the people around me. And how can I make
yep.
the people around me
Mhm.
better? And I think a lot of times there's intangible qualities that top players have that go very unnoticed for a really long time. And I think being in the public eye and how much social media is involved now, and people are not to say that they're catching on, but it's easier to start to notice these type of things.
Yep.
I think you can see with players that are loved within a dressing room when they do something well, or someone's giving them praise. You can tell when there's people that are in your corner, excuse me, and backing you, or they score a goal in
Hmm.
a match and everybody is smiling and happy because
Yep.
those are people that push things forward every single day. Those are people you want to be
Yep.
alongside, and you want to go to war with. Not to say that you need to be best friends off the field, but it
Right.
certainly helps being a good human being. Um,
Mhm.
and I think for myself, um, I've come to a new club now. I've been injured for the past 10 weeks. I had surgery on I had to get up I had surgery on my pelvis.
Mhm.
And I've had to, tap into that a lot over the past, 2.5 months, where I'm not able to have the impact on the field yet, but how can I be available for the people around me and know that I'm in their corner?
Mhm.
Because
Right.
if and when it's my opportunity, I want the same love back. And
100%.
in my experience in Vegas, I had last season was tumultuous to say the least. But the year before, we had a rough start, and there were there were some really experienced guys in the dressing room who took everything by the scruff of the neck, and we worked
Mhm.
things out. And I don't know how well you guys follow the USL, but I think in 2024, the team I was a part of played some really exciting football, and we had some really good players, and everything started to click. And I think that starts from good leadership, from
Yep.
uh, not only with the coach, but with the players involved, because the coach isn't there 90% of the time. And the
Right.
coach isn't on the
Mhm.
field with you. And the coach doesn't have a joystick. So when there are problems, they can have all of the tactical information that they want. But if the players aren't able to implement it and solve problems in live time, then you're in trouble.
Yep.
But
Mhm.
being a leader isn't this. This is a part of it. The vocal piece, and knowing when to speak, because you don't want nobody likes barking, man. When people
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
dogs that don't shut up, and it's like, "Oh my god, again? Are you kidding me?" Like, your words have to have value, and I've
Yep.
learned that
Yeah.
over time. I've learned that speaking at the right times is a lot more effective than constantly saying things,
Right.
and that starts with how you before this, your actions need to speak for themselves, because you have no credibility otherwise. Um,
100%.
and those are principles that I try to hone into every single day, and those are things that I try to transmit to those around me. Um, I like to be. I'm not somebody to shy away from a tackle. I'm not somebody to
There you
to
go.
to have a word when I need to, and I'm definitely not someone who's going to back down to anybody else. But at the same time, I recognize if someone is struggling, they might need an arm around the shoulder, and they might need somebody to talk to, because a lot of the times, man, you don't know what's going on in their life.
Yep.
And a simple conversation, or a simple, "Hey, listen, if you don't want to talk about it, but know that I'm here, I'm in your corner, whatever you need," does a lot. Does a lot, because most of us, I'm sure you guys, as you continue to do this and speak to more pros, uh, you have a lot of time on your own.
Yep.
Maybe for those of us who for players out there who have a significant other, or now have a wife and children. Regardless of that, you're still away. You're still away a lot of the times. You miss a lot of things, and uh, having this sense of camaraderie amongst a group of people is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, and knowing
Yep.
that you're not alone is half of the battle. And understanding that, look, I think being in a group, you just want to be respected.
Yep.
Mhm.
You want to be respected, and how do you gain people's respect? It's by doing the little things right, man. It's doing the little things right, and overall being a good person. Because if you're a good person and you make m- we all make mistakes. We all make mistakes, from the first person on the
Yep.
team sheet to the last person on the team sheet, to the kit man, to the social media guy, to the president, to the sporting director, to the head coach, to the set piece coach, video, and everyone
Yep.
makes mistakes, man. But if you do it together, and you have people that feel as though that they're responsible for the people around them, then you're gonna have success. I'm
Yep.
a strong believer in that. Uh,
Mhm.
look into the guy next to you, and you don't have to have the best relationship in the world, but be like, this guy works his ass off every single day. I owe it to him, to myself first and foremost, but to him, to not let my level drop and make him less of what he is, because my job is to push him, and his job is to push me. And that starts with how you show up every single day, man. I mean, luckily I've
100%.
yeah.
Good stuff there. And so right now, right, you've recently signed for 2026. You're with Tampa Bay. So we definitely have some questions there. I want to learn a little bit more about, first off, why you picked Tampa. Before I ask that question, though, Pucc has a general USL question. We're getting more into
What's that,
USL.
My general question is, who's the toughest team that you've played in the USL, and why is it Hartford Athletic?
The smile. The smile. John did the same thing. Here comes the politically correct answer.
It's not Hartford Athletic. Bro. It's definitely not Hartford Athletic. Definitely not Hartford Athletic, man. The toughest, I mean, why would you say that? Well, why?
It tripped John up too. Honestly, I have a cousin who's a season ticket holder for Hartford Athletic, so that was like
Hartford has a good crowd.
Yeah, that's what he always says. He's always like, "You should come up for a game." And
it's a good time, man. They have a really good crowd.
I know, but I also went to Colorado Springs' stadium a few years back, and I really want to go back out there because I loved that stadium.
Yeah.
So
Colorado's a tough place to go because of the altitude. Regardless of the day, we had a game there in 2024 where we probably should have lost 5-1. They had 4 goals called offsides, but they hit the post like 2 or 3 times, and all of us were, just sucking wind for it's actually, I don't know if you guys know, but it has the highest altitude of any stadium in the United States, or actually North America, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Jeez.
So I think professional. I think Air Force is a little bit higher, but they're right next to each other. So that's a tough place to go. I mean, Louisville is a tough place to go. They've had incredible success over the past couple seasons. Within the regular season, been unsuccessful in the postseason. We played against Charleston in 2024, and we were down 4-0 in like 25 minutes. So that was a rough one. One. I mean, it all depends, man. Like, what's up?
I was going to say that, no, Pucc also, when he was in Colorado Springs, he almost passed out too because of the altitude and the 37 beers. But it was probably because of the altitude for Pucc there too,
that's. I mean, listen, man. Listen, you gotta enjoy the game.
Yeah,
it's not easy to be a fan, man. In the altitude, you're out there, you're chanting all day. You know what I mean?
It's true.
It's not easy.
It's very true, man. It's very true.
So, Gennaro, you signed for Tampa Bay, obviously one of the more historic clubs, I'd say, not just in USL, but just in the U.S., right? I feel like I've heard stories about the Rowdies through the 90s, maybe even through the 80s. My history might be off there, but, what is it like been signing down Tampa first off? My parents plan on moving there. Beautiful area. Very jealous of you. You've lived in some good spots, by the way. You've lived in some very good spots. Clark, New Jersey takes the cake, though, yeah?
Not bad, huh? Not bad. Yeah, Clark's still home, man. My parents still live in Clark. My time off, I spend time there for sure.
Spends like 1 week.
Tampa.
He's like, I spend time there.
No, man. Tampa's incredible. Tampa's an incredible place to live. I mean, vibrant city. We got St. Pete just 25 minutes away. That's where our stadium is. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Alang. Incredible place to play football. Right next to the marina in St. Pete. It's it's not a bad place to be.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, my process last year, it was the first time I was heading into free agency in my career where I probably was going to have choice of where I ended up. I had 2 good seasons in Vegas, and Tampa was the first club that I spoke to, and had really positive conversations with our head coach from the get-go. And I mean, you guys know how it is when something feels right and things are progressing in the right direction. It's almost a no-brainer. And to add to what you said before, the Tampa Bay Rowdies are the second oldest club in the United States, right behind Charleston Battery, they were same inaugural season, have significant amount of of history, not only within the USL but in the NASL and in the ECNL, I believe. Someone's gonna have to fact check me there.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually what
Um,
Owen's here for, but I called Owen, by
Yeah.
the way, earlier. Owen is too scared. He has a stomach bug. He is way too scared to jump on. I called him,
that's
and he
okay.
literally
Owen and I just give me his number. I'll give him a call. I'll give him a call.
shoot him a
Uh,
FaceTime.
I will. So plus, you know, I think the club as a whole, not only from a historical standpoint, but you know, understanding who the club is bringing in for this season. It's a really exciting project, and I quickly said yes. So
Yep.
I knew a little bit in advance. Before the end of last season, I was focused on finishing out the season in Vegas, and you know, was all set up for 2026.
Mhm.
But really excited to be here, man. The team
Awesome.
is flying right now. Guys are playing really well, and you know, everyone's clicking. Obviously, it's easier when you're winning games. You know, we're gonna have bumps in the
Mhm.
road throughout the season for sure. We're
Right.
gonna have tough moments. But right now, it's a good feeling to go into training every single day. It's a joy.
Yeah.
It's a joy.
Awesome. Good stuff there. All right. So, Gennaro, one more question here. I guess we had a couple more, but one more I had. So, last week, Pooch has always dreamed of number one. Last week, it was, I don't know if you remember the video of Neymar years ago where a kid in the hospital did a dance. Neymar said, if I score, I'll do it. So last week, Pooch did the same thing with John being Neymar. So Pooch gave John a celebration. He's super excited, a fellow Italian. He actually came up with a chant for you, and he wants to do it for you. So go ahead, Pooch.
Gennaro, I didn't. He keeps doing this to me. He keeps putting me on the
Pooch,
spot. Like,
do you see what
5
I'm
minutes
working with here, man?
beforehand.
Do you see what I'm doing here? He gets anxious. It's okay. Do the chant. It was really good.
See, Gennaro, I don't have the mind to go quick like that where it's like, oh,
That's
chant,
okay, man.
boom, right
That's
away.
okay. That's okay. Don't worry.
I did hear a rumor though that Ethan had one locked and loaded that he was ready to share.
I'm always ready. That's the thing with all this stuff because I knew Pooch was going to flip it. So I mean, we had a guy in our fraternity named Nick Marinelli. Obviously, two Italian good men. So Nick Marinelli's was Nick Marinelli. Nick Marinelli loves the pizza. He loves the pasta. The lad's fucking magic. Just throw Gennaro Nigro. Gennaro Nigro loves the pizza.
This
loves the...
sounds familiar, man. You know Patrick Cutrone?
Yep.
Yeah,
That's where it's from.
Is it from
That's
there,
where
Pooch?
it's from, man.
Yes.
You're gonna get
Trademarked?
copyrighted, man. You're gonna get
Oh no.
copyrighted.
Well, I had to come up with one quick.
Patrick Cutrone is gonna be on the phone quick,
Yeah.
dude.
He's
That was when
be
he
knocking
played
down your door in
for.
Scotch Flames.
Who was he playing for in England?
Wolves. He was playing for Wolves.
He was playing for Wolves, exactly.
Yeah.
That was a Wolves special right there, man.
Yeah.
There you go. If he calls me, we'll take it. Just another pro on the pod. After James comes on next week, I think I'm out of connection. So I'm actually trying to get him to call me. But real quick, one more question. We mentioned it earlier, right? You lived in some good spots. Rank all the spots. Yeah, I was going to say, and why Clark is number one. But obviously, we know why Clark is number one. It's home. But yeah, rank the spots for me where you've lived.
I'll give you my favorite.
Okay, fair enough.
I give my favorite. We're not gonna do any. Every place is unique and special, and you know.
PR answer.
Exactly.
There's no HR here, bro. No one cares that you don't like Utah.
I'm well trained, man. Actually, I loved Utah.
Really?
Utah's an incredible place to live, man. Incredible.
Okay.
Incredible.
Did you convert to Mormonism?
I met a few Mormons. I definitely met a few Mormons, but I can't say I converted. It's not
fair enough.
I don't know enough about it, man. You know.
Yeah.
Don't know enough about it. But
the headline on this post is going to be open. You're open to it. You just don't know enough about it. Just open.
I don't. Again, we started off. What do we start off with? Political ideology and now we're going into religion.
Yeah.
What's next? What's next? You're gonna ask me for my social security number? What's going on?
We asked John for his address. He gave it. So, you don't want to be the
I
guy that
did.
doesn't.
Don't give your address
if you want it.
You want
I'll throw-
Pucc's address?
Morristown is nice, man. Honestly,
Yeah.
I don't know if Morristown has anything on the places that I've lived. To be honest. Like, it's tough.
I agree. I
It's tough.
don't think it's as. I think it's better than Vegas. It's better than Tampa.
Yeah.
It's definitely better than Italy.
Or Rome. Yeah.
Pucc has a really
100%.
good pizza spot around the corner. I mean, what more does he need?
I've actually had good pizza in Morristown, believe it or not.
Yeah, they got good places here.
There's good
There's some
places.
good
Morristown's great, bro. Like I
Yeah.
was
There you
there.
go.
I was there in the winter. It was decorated. The roundabout, the big roundabout in the,
Yep.
in the
Yeah.
center. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
so
a good
nice,
spot.
man. So nice.
Pucc is living his bachelor life.
All right. My favorite place that I've lived is yeah, man, it's gotta be Rome. It's gotta be Rome.
Yeah.
It's just what a place. man.
Easily, right?
What a
One of
place.
one.
I mean, to be honest, it's a toss up between Rome and Den Haag.
Mm.
Den
Okay.
Haag is I don't know how much you know about
Very little.
so it's in English it's The Hague.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
it's the city of peace. So after World War II, they signed lots of treaties
Mhm.
there, and they have it's actually where the king and queen of the Netherlands live. They actually
Oh.
don't live in Amsterdam, being the capital.
Yeah.
Which I always found a little bit strange.
Yeah.
But anyway, beautiful city. If you ever have a chance to go, I highly recommend it. I lived really close to the city center, and I really enjoyed my time there. It was brief,
Mm-hmm.
but just really, really, really nice place to live. And then I think Rome kind of speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a magical place. It's one of those destinations that you walk around and you can't really believe your eyes. I luckily was there for 2 years, and every time I would leave my house and go explore the city, I would see something new. And you're literally walking through history, man. Like, I don't know if
Yeah.
another city in the entire world is able to uh emulsify both modern and ancient history together.
No,
I
it's
run out of words trying to explain that place.
That was one hell of a
I-
word, by the way. Emulsify, ridiculous. I know
Yeah.
we're podcast guys. Most people would think we're good with words. We are not.
We're
This is
not.
not a
We're
words
not.
podcast. As Pooch pronounce anything, I just pronounce wrong. Emulsify is a hell of a word. But what were you saying
Yeah.
about Pooch loves Rome? He has a cat named
Yeah.
Rome.
I mean,
Do you?
no, I don't. He was lying. But I was just gonna say there's a reason why they call it the Eternal City is exactly
Yeah.
what you said, where it brings everything together, the new age and then also the old age
Yeah.
of everything in human history. And it is an amazing city. Had the pleasure of going there for like a week during
Mhm.
spring break one year in college, and it was awesome. It was great.
Yeah.
So I love
Yeah.
that city.
Also, you can I don't know how much traveling you guys have done, but I think it's pound for pound probably the best culinary.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
Yep. I have not been to Rome yet, but it's definitely on the list. Italy in general. That's a big one on the list. I've
Yeah.
been through pretty much all of Europe, but Italy is somewhere I want to spend like a good week and a half, 2 weeks. And a lot of my trips have been like 4 days, 3, and you
Yep.
just can't do it all. You can do a city maybe.
oh, man,
like Milan.
you need a lifetime. You need a lifetime, especially that city, man. Like,
100%. That totally makes sense.
It's
So,
amazing.
obviously, you're loving Tampa right now. We just signed there. We have a long time left in Tampa. We're all good there. So there's been a lot of new clubs up here in the Northeast now near home, right? I think
Yeah.
Westchester's in the area. I just saw somebody was playing against, I don't know, was it like Clifton? Garfield has a team. Cosmos are back. I spoke to John about it. He said he'd love to get nearby home, or maybe we get a reconnection there. One of these teams. Is that a long-term goal? Find our way back home is not even on the table.
I haven't, to be honest, man. Like, I try to think as short term as
Yeah.
possible. Try to think as short term as possible. I know a few people within the Cosmos organization that are
Yeah.
are very, very close to me.
Mhm.
And I think that they're gonna have a good first inaugural season back in
Yep.
USL League One. But that being said, man, like I'm not really much of a planner. You know, I think my life to this point has brought me to places that I never would have
Yep.
imagined. And right now I'm happy where I am. I'm happy where I am. You know, you never know when the phone is going to start ringing, and there are
Yep.
times where you can't turn things away. Um, but I'm happy where I am. I'm really excited to start contributing to this club to be
Yep.
out with my teammates, and you know, hopefully you guys can come watch us play at some point. We'll be in the Northeast. We'll be playing against Brooklyn. We'll be playing against
Yeah.
Hartford. We'll be playing against Pittsburgh, which is a little bit of a hike, but you know, we have some games in the area. So
I'd say let's go to Hartford, but I'm scared of what jersey Pucc is going to pull on. I mean, the
No,
guys at
I
Hartford.
would be I would be 100% on Tampa Bay. I'd be a Rowdy that day.
There you go. There you
we
go.
got
Well,
some we got some nice kits, man. We got some nice kits.
that was going to be the next
The green and
question.
gold.
Yeah, well, so John's agreed to send one. So he's going to send us one. So that way you don't see it right now because I got a very generic background. But one day, once we interview Messi, Ronaldo, everyone that's come onto the pod before them actually gets their jerseys in between, like right in the middle of it. So that way
Nice.
we'll always remember who came on first early on. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So we're going to need a kit. But yeah, other than
Sounds
that,
good,
I
man.
mean, obviously talking about coming up here, FC Motown. You love Motown. So far in this pod, Pucc has an extra spot in his apartment. He lives right in the heart of it, 51 Elm Street.
FC Motown.
FC Motown. That could be
Again,
that's a good.
again. My cousin has been involved with FC Motown.
Oh,
He was a coach there last summer.
Mhm.
He gets me all the updates that I need.
There you
But
go.
I'll be supporting, excuse me, FC Motown from afar this year.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Awesome.
Someone do a Fabrizio tweet. You know, Gennaro connections to FC
Here we-
Motown.
here
Very
we
interested.
go.
Here, lots of sensations between club and player. But that being said, Gennaro, first off, we want to appreciate you coming on, spending a full hour here with us. It was awesome learning about your journey,
Yes.
learning about obviously how much you love Clark and Hartford Athletic, and of course getting into the nitty gritty, politically, religious, all the good stuff. But no, seriously, it was awesome having you on, and yeah, man, 100%. Class is
Good luck.
permanent.
Real quick. How much longer till you're fully back and healthy after your surgery?
It should be a few more weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will you
Well,
be fit for the game against Brooklyn?
When is the game against Brooklyn, my man?
I don't know. You told me you're coming up here to play
He doesn't-
Brooklyn, my
he
man.
doesn't-
Dude, he's not a planner. He's not a planner.
He's not a planner. He told you that. He said he's not a planner.
Hold on.
Well-
I'll tell you right now. Give me a second.
He just. Do you go to Google too and type in the schedule, or do you got it like on the phone, like wallpaper?
No, I have a picture in my camera roll.
Okay.
I love it.
June 20th. That should
Okay.
be
All right.
that should be doable.
We will be there no matter what. Me and Pucc will be
You're gonna
there,
be there?
sidelines. We'll have the Tampa Bay kits on, and I'll make sure Pucc doesn't pass out this time from the elevation in Brooklyn or the 38 beers. Gennaro,
Dude,
good
have a-
stuff.
have
You can have as
speedy
many beers as
recovery,
you want,
Gennaro.
bro.
It's on
Don't
him.
let this guy tell you how many beers you can have. You can have as many as you want.
I love it. Especially if you go down to Migalino. Remember, use code class is permanent, free meal and 10% off, even though it's free. But that being said, Gennaro, we're gonna let you go. I'm sure you got a big
Take
day
care, guys.
tomorrow. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
Peace out, boys.
Alrighty, and we are back. Awesome episode. It is 11:40 right now, so me and Pucc are gonna fly through this preview. Pucc has to go to work in the morning. I'm very busy. All right, let's jump into it. So real quick, FA Cup this weekend. The big games to watch out for: Manchester City versus Liverpool. Pucc, what are your thoughts? Give me 10 seconds.
Liverpool wins.
Okay, fair enough. Southampton versus Arsenal. How do you feel?
Good. Arsenal.
The big game in La Liga this weekend will be Atletico Madrid versus Barca. They actually play Atleti versus Barca, then they play Champions League, and then they play again. They play 3 times,
Oh,
I
jeez.
think, in a row. It's like 3 times in a row or 3 in the next 4. Insane.
Mhm.
So this game's in Madrid, so it should be a good one. Serie A, we just spent a lot of time on it, but let's talk real quick. We have Inter Milan versus Roma. Pucc, how you feeling about this one?
Not good. Inter Milan, I think, wins.
Wow, after all that shit you just spoke. Udinese versus Como. I'm going to do the Owen. Oh, we forgot to mention Owen's not on the pod. This is something I should have mentioned in the intro. You probably heard through the interview, Owen is not feeling well today. He got very anxious that we brought another pro on, and because of that, he didn't do it. But Udinese versus Como, yeah, my Como knees were going to win. Napoli versus AC Milan, probably the best game this weekend in Serie A. What do you think, this or Inter? Inter Roma.
I would probably say this one, just because
Okay.
I think they're second and third.
Yeah, I think it's just a little bit more on the line, and on top of
Mhm.
it, I'm always going to like Napoli. Give me Napoli. I'm not. They're in Naples. Okay. In Ligue 1, you have Monaco versus Marseille, and then going to the MLS, a big game here. NYCFC versus St. Louis City. It's Ethan versus Pooch. Should we do another shave bet, Pooch?
No, because we're gonna lose.
Boo, be a man. I stood
No.
up. I had a relegation side going against you. Will you let me expose your full 9 to 5 jobs listing on the episode? Last episode, you made me cut it out.
No.
We'll work on something off air. Maybe he'll have to, like, I don't know. You got a hairy back, right? Maybe we could shave something into it.
I don't like. I feel like Arsenal versus Tottenham's a rivalry. Like
But
that's why we did
It's
that.
Derby days. It's a Derby. It's the
But
Pooch and Ethan
I
Derby.
don't know. You were confident that Tottenham were going to beat Arsenal. I have like
You have
2%
to be.
confidence that
Okay.
St. Louis City is going to even win.
Okay.
I'll give
Fair enough.
you $2. I'll give you $2.
Make it 4, and you know what? How about this? Just buy me a beer next time we go out. Fair enough.
Okay, fair.
Okay. Miami versus Austin FC. Only reason I threw this here, Miami is opening their new stadium this weekend. It's actually called New Stadium. And they have a stand. Did you see this, Pooch? The Messi stand?
Jeez, he's still playing.
The
we
Leo
can't
Messi
be doing
stand.
this.
Yeah,
we can't
I mean,
be doing this. He's still playing.
If they did this after he left, I'd get it. But yeah, I mean, the glaze is a little much. But
What about the Sergio Busquets stand? Where does that go?
I know. You know where we're going to put that? We're going to put that in Barcelona, the Camp Nou, and the Spotify Camp Nou.
Okay.
We'll put that there where it belongs. And then we have San Jose versus San Diego FC. I wrote this down because they both have the word San, meaning
San Derby.
San Derby. So it should be. Who you taking that one, Pooch?
I feel like San Diego FC is going to pull through. I know San Jose is on a bit of a run right now, but I
take
like
San
San
Diego.
Diego FC in that.
All right, I do too. Well, that was our quick preview. Me and Pooch have had an awesome time with you guys here. One last piece of news that just broke on my phone: Ronaldinho documentary coming out on Netflix April 16th.
I was going to mention that, but I forgot. If I'm being transparent,
I did too.
Hand up,
Hand
being
up.
transparent. Completely forgot.
Good stuff there. So that'll be exciting. Maybe we'll do like, is it a series or is it a movie? It's a movie. Pooch is saying. Okay, so maybe Pooch, maybe you and I'll get together and we'll do a review and we'll leave it for the end of an episode, and that way we'll like talk about it at the end of the episode in depth, and anyone who watched it can talk about it with us or listen to us talk about it.
But we would have to record directly after watching.
That's fine. I'll bring.
Yeah, we can't. We can't sit there and a week later be like, oh, I had thoughts originally, but looking back on it, I think it's bad. I want to just go in there and be like, I'm so excited that they showed him just like at Carnival and like getting after it.
Neymar's been on YouTube doing the same thing, showing his life. Supposedly, right before the Brazilian national team, like Ancelotti makes his final selection, they what does Neymar play for? Sao Paulo?
Santos.
What's wrong with me? Santos has moved their game to hours before. They've put it in a special stadium, and they're essentially making it so Neymar gets like one last chance to impress Ancelotti before he picks. It's supposed to be a big deal. I think they're playing like a shit opponent. The whole thing. So that was some other news I saw.
I do hope he makes it. I don't know why Ancelotti is so against it. Like, I understand, like, hey, you've had your time and all of this, but the fact that all of the players and fans want him, and it feels like Ancelotti is the only one that doesn't. He doesn't need to play a minute. Just there's 26-man rosters.
Put him for the vibes. Like,
yeah.
They did this. So Brazil did this to Ronaldinho in 2010. He that year with AC Milan had 15 goals and 16 assists, and they didn't select him for the team. Weird. That's weird, man. If it's someone's last cup, you have to take them. I mean, they were talking about Congo, Bakumbo or whatever.
And I understand too. Last point I'll make on this.
Yeah.
But I understand too that like if you want to give like an 18-year-old like an
100%.
opportunity to play in the World Cup, all of that. But I guarantee you, if Ancelotti goes to that 18-year-old and says, "Hey, listen, we really want to give you the spot, but we're going to go with Neymar instead," that kid will be like, "Can I please just get tickets to games?" Like I'm okay with that. Let
You don't want to
Neymar play.
be
Like
you don't want to be the guy that keeps Neymar off his final world. And he said it.
Yeah.
He said it. This is my final World Cup. Like I watched one of the YouTube videos. It was like a day in my life. He's trying to get into that, and he literally says like, "Yeah." And it showed when Ancelotti picked this group for this international break, and it showed him like not getting a phone call and being like, "Yeah, this is my last World Cup. Like it'll essentially break my heart if I don't get picked."
Yeah.
And it's just like you gotta take like. And Spain did this. Spain did this to Sergio Ramos. I didn't like it. We ended up winning the cup. I didn't care. Spain did this to Sergio Ramos where they left him off the team where, sorry, this wasn't the Euros. This was the last World Cup. They didn't bring him, and they only brought 24 when they could have brought 26. And I was like, you have to put him on the bench. You just have to let him like be part of the dynamics. I think it's just good vibes. Plus, when it comes to Brazil, like, I get what we're saying, like, oh, put an 18-year-old on the team. He's going to pick some random dude. And when I say random, I'm sure he's playing and all that. Like, he's going to pick Sousa from Spurs right now.
Yeah.
It's okay. Like, Sousa can wait. You know what I mean? I get he's probably playing at a better level than Neymar is right now. He's probably more, like, we're good on that. I shouldn't probably do that to my own player. But, so he's going to pick Danny Alves or some shit. That being said, let's wrap this thing up. Another awesome episode. That is the final whistle. Form is temporary. Class is permanent. We will see you guys all next Tuesday. Peace.